Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Instinct, aka 5 Deep. And today we're just gonna be breaking down this beat. It's something really vibey, really ambient, but still hard hitting. Something I could hear like Black or the Weeknd on. But yeah, here's what it's gonna sound like. This is one of my more, I don't want to say complicated beats, but it is, it has a lot of elements. So I'm going to go pretty quick through this one. Before we start, I do got to plug my new drum kit that just dropped either today or yesterday, sometime this week, I'm not sure. It's called Dimensions by my homie Scandy and I. Over 100 sounds in there, all kinds of drums, lots of perk loops, effects, you name it. But yeah, I used pretty much only that kit in this beat, so you'll be seeing a lot of those sounds. You can use video 25 for 25% off of that on my website. I will leave the link in the description. But yeah, enough plugging. Let's get right into it. So the first sound in this beat was just this really ambient pad. I haven't used Omnisphere in a long time, but I went back to it and was surprised by the quality of sounds in there. The bank this sound is in is called Subsonic Arts Gaia. The patch is called Aurora Borealis, and it's just a super ambient pad. Didn't even actually play chords, it's just intervals. I literally just clicked in what I thought sounded cool. There are lots of half steps and just single steps to make that kind of spooky dissonant sound. No effects. Kind of harsh, but then I went ahead, kind of drowned it in some vintage verb. And then I also used a shaper box, which isn't loading for some reason, but it's basically, you could do the same thing with a kickstart. Just go half steps, classic chain, turn the mix down, something like that. Then we have a high pass, just to cut out all the lows. And then another reverb, this one's a Valhalla Shimmer, just for some really high, like grainy texture. And then we have a Cymatics Origin, one of my favorite new plugins. And with all of that, it sounds like this. So you almost can't even hear it, but I layered it with a bunch of shit. So the second thing we have is this Analog Lab preset right here, which I'm gonna have to put in post because for some reason my plugins aren't loading. But here are the chords I played for that. Again, not really even chords, except this one, but the other ones are just intervals. And I actually routed those to the same mixer channels, so they have the same effects. So that one sounds like this. Together. So I thought that was sounding pretty good. After that, I went in and I found a one shot I liked. This one's from Loner's Layers kit, it looks like. Same as that Analog Lab pad there. And on that one, I threw this GHz Lossy. It's kind of an interesting plugin. I'm not entirely sure what it does exactly. It's kind of like a low pass filter, but with some weird artifacting. Then we have a halftime, and then we have a EQ, just high passing. And that without a filter on it sounds like this. I only really use that in the intro, bridge section, and then the outro, just for a lower octave layer. And then once I had those pads going, I started looking for Vox. I'm pretty sure these are just from Splice. Yeah, that one's from Splice. That one's from Splice. I forget what I searched to get these, to be honest, but no effects. This one, just kind of a stab. And then this one I actually chopped up, also just kind of a stab. So I put those together, and then I added some reverb, good old bandpass, pan man to pan it back and forth, and an Echo Boy delay. So those sound like this. So then I found some more Vox. This one, I actually don't remember where I got it. It looks like I bounced it, but the effects on this one, I do have a sound shifter that's gonna pitch it up an octave, but I have the mix on that sound shifter automated so that it only comes on certain times. Then we have a shaper box doing the same thing, just a little sidechain. Then we got a stereo shaper on the shrinked preset, then a really tight band pass, Comeback Kid delay, my favorite. And then this shaper box, which I'm also gonna have to add in post, just adds kind of a weird choppy volume automation. So all that sounds like this. Pretty sure you could do that same choppy automation in Gross Beat. Then for the final vocal, which has the same effects as these first two that I talked about, sounds like this. That one's also just from some splice pack. Then the final element of this beat is just this lead right here. Just follows some of the notes from those chords. No effects, sounds like this. So super simple, boring melody, but I went ahead, drowned it in effects like I always do. So we got some Comeback Kid. Actually have a thermal on the Dreamy Lo-Fi Piano preset. Another sidechaining shaper box. Then we have another cymatics origin. Then we have that same kind of glitchy volume automation through shaper box as we did on the Vox, and another reverb. So with those effects, it sounds like this. And I just have that playing at a few different octaves throughout the beat. But yeah, that's basically the melodic elements of this beat. There's also this texture loop, which is from an Only One kit. That one also just has some reverb, bandpass, and a fruity phaser on the airy texture preset. And that just plays pretty much throughout the whole beat, and it sounds like this. It's kind of melodic and it accents those pads really well. So yeah, that's basically all the melodic elements of this beat. It's pretty simple, very reverbed out and very ambient. What I like to do with these kind of super ambient melodies is to make some really like hard hitting drums that you wouldn't really expect to go with those melodies. So I started out with this bass, which is actually from my new kit. It's the ballistic bass. And I just played the root notes of those chords / not chords, and I used a lot of slide notes just to give it some nice movement. I turned on loop points and I bumped up this crossfade knob so that it plays basically infinitely. And then I also squared off the envelope and put a little attack. And then I paired that with a kick, which is the Left 4 Dead kick from my kit, just saying. And I actually sidechained the kick to the bass. I've talked about this a little bit before in the past, but you just basically click on the mixer for the kick, go down to this little thing on the bass, right click it, sidechain to this track, then you go to the bass, throw a fruity limiter on there, and the way I do it is I just bump up the ceiling all the way, come over to this compressor tab, right click sidechain, kick, and then I bring the knee in ratio all the way up and I change the threshold based on where the kick is hitting and the release based on how long you want it to dip down for. And you can actually see the sidechain there, so that's those. Once I had that done, I went ahead and added a rim. I believe this one's the So Stray rim. Regular pattern on that one. Didn't do anything fancy on it except shifted a little bit. And then I actually half-timed that, bounced it to a recording. So that's what this is. It's just the same rim with halftime on it. Then I also went ahead and added just a really low two-step hi-hat, pitched it down an octave, and I made a nice two-step pattern with some alternating velocities. In the mixer, I actually added a flanges, fruity flanges, my favorite plugin to say, and then a fruity phaser and a fruity reverb. This hat is very fruity. But yeah, so it sounds like this. So already you got kind of like a stank face going with those. And then I decided to add some main hats. I brought the trim all the way up and I brought the out down quite a bit just to shorten it so that I could do some crazy rolls and shit with it. I also shifted it. I went a little nuts with the hats, not gonna lie. Took a lot of inspiration from the homie View on these hats. He used to do some crazy shit with hats. Wanted to give that a go on this beat. So we got some just interesting rolls and like velocities changes. Tried to use the hat almost like a melodic element. Then once I had that, that's kind of like the verse / hook section. I added a shit ton of snares. I think all of these just kind of doing some interesting stuff. I won't go through all of them because there's a lot, but you can see in the pattern that there's a lot of rolls with some volume automations, and then they also are all over the place note-wise. So that kind of adds some interest, and then they're also panned in different directions. So those, along with those other drums, sound like this. Kind of interesting. Just have some tall reverb on all of those to blend them into the space. And then I went ahead and added even more snares. Actually rims, I guess. Just kind of hitting in different spots. Once I had all that, I went ahead and added this kind of open hat / crash. Sounds like that. And then I just have another open hat that's actually playing on top of the snare, interestingly. Just added kind of a cool texture on top of that snare. And even more interestingly, I actually have quite a few plugins on that open hat. We got an origin, we got a delay, reverb, and we actually have a stereo shaper. I'm pretty sure this is just on the shrinked preset. And finally, and this is my favorite part of this beat, we have this kind of drop section where it goes from that bass to this 808. Yeah, that just follows the root notes, but I did some kind of interesting stuff, also kind of inspired by View, actually. This whole beat kind of was. But we just have some like stutters, and I made sure to square off the envelope so that it would stop when I stopped the note, so then you can do some cool kind of stutter stuff like that, and lots of octave jumps like I do by itself. And with the rest of the drums. But yeah, that's pretty much every element of this beat. After that, it was just a lot of arrangement stuff. And then I actually forgot about this, but I just heard it when I played that. I also have this kind of reverse 808 leading into that section, just to kind of add to it a little bit. Pretty sure, I forget how I did that. If I did that now, I would just pull it into the playlist, reverse it, kind of trim the in a little bit, and then pitch it to where I wanted it. That's what that is. Then we also just have a bunch of risers. These two from my new kit. This one's from my last kit. Sorry to keep plugging shit. I just gotta pay rent, you know? But yeah, that's pretty much the whole beat. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry I've been MIA for a while. School's been kicking my ass. I actually have a final today, so I should probably be studying. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys sticking with me. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, share, notification bell, all that bullshit that I hate when people talk about at the end of their videos, but I have to. So do all that, buy my kits, give me money. Use the code video25 for 25% off all of those on my website. Links will be in the description. That was a long outro. I apologize. I will play the finished beat right now. Love you guys. Have a great day. Till next time. Peace.
Do not go gentle.